All right, y'all. Saturday night scripture reading. Sabbath was great. I rested a ton. Was a good Sabbath. Just recollecting over all the blessings from the past week, and it's gonna be another great week because He says so. So, we are going to start in John. I don't know why, but he wants me to walk through John. And I was like, well, maybe we could do John and Revelation at the same time. And I started looking at Revelation, and it's just loaded. I think we're going to do a time to where we're just going to go through Revelation completely by itself. But for right now, with the new year coming up, not the Hebrew calendar new year, we should start afresh. Let's get back to Jesus. It's time to get to the basics. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do John 1 through 18. The Word became flesh, and He dwelt, tabernacled among us. So John 1 through 5. The Word made flesh. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And we know who this is talking about. He is referring to the beginning. Creation. It was with Him. He was with Him. And he was God Himself. The same was in the beginning with God. So if you didn't get it from there, he talks about it in verse 2. All things were made by and through Him. One of my favorite songs talks about this. Everything was made by Him and through Him. And without Him was not anything made that was made. So John here is prophesying not only that Jesus was at creation and in the beginning, but there was not one thing made that was not made through Him. That is so amazing. Seeing Jesus for who He truly is. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. In Him was life. So the only reason why we have this life inside of us is because of Him. And it's the light that is inside of us. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Comprehended or overcame. The darkness will never. This is a big testimony. I love when I just stop and just go through each verse by verse and verse. And I'm telling you, I don't pre-study. I paste pictures, I paste scripture, and He speaks to me when I'm reading this stuff, and it's amazing. The darkness cannot overcome it. It cannot. It's not able to. And it can't shine in the darkness either, as you see in verse 5. Man, I love doing these, guys. If you all knew how much this blesses me. Okay, John 1, 6 through 8. And this is actually verified, as you see from these three scriptures. Right here. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Verify the exact same thing. Verse 6. There is a man sent from God, whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. And we are talking about John the Baptist. We are, yes, talking about John. To bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was a source for this light, as are all of us. I was in a discussion with someone last night, and I think they got upset. It's because they think that Jesus just came for the Jews. Jesus didn't come for everyone. I'm telling you, I'm not going to hate any other races because they tell me to. Because hate is too much. To not bear hate in you. It's evil. We are not to hate. And I know one day there are going to be women of all nations and of all tongues with us in the kingdom. So I do not hate. I wouldn't want them hating me. I wouldn't want them judging me just by what a few of them are doing. I don't want that, so I don't want to do that to other people. He came for all, that all men through him might believe. Jesus is the source. But we need to stop telling people with scripture that we're construing that he just came for the Jews. He didn't. He came that all men through him might believe. That's my Jesus. John 1, 9 through 13. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. You see what a comparison John does here to creation, to the creating of man, to our very Jesus. He was in the world, and the world was made by and through him. You're seeing this correlation again in these verses. It's almost like, okay, you need to know this. So you went over those scriptures. I'm going to put it over here again. And the world knew him not. The world knew him not. He came into his own, and his own received him not. And most of them didn't. A lot of them didn't. They did not receive him. And you're still seeing a cursing of Jesus, even in that holy land. You're still seeing a curse of Jesus. Are still cursing him. Still cursing him to this day. Still not believing that he came. The only begotten of God. So that whosoever believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And they still won't accept him. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. What source do we have to receive this power to become the sons of God? You got it. It's coming through Jesus. Even to them that believe on his name. Belief, true belief. You know, and I forget who it was. Oh, I totally forget that scripture. But, was it Paul? I can't remember, but that scripture that says, you believe, good for you. You know, even the demons believe, and they shudder. So to have a true belief, it's deep, and it completely consumes your heart. It's not just itty bitty little part here and itty little part here in your mind. You believe it with all your heart that he came. We believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. How blessed are we? How blessed are we to have this wonderful light inside of us that came from Jesus. It didn't come from the will of the flesh. It didn't come from the will of man. It came from God. The only reason any of us is here is because of God. God knew it and wanted us. How precious is that, y'all? All right, John 1:14 through 18. He tabernacled among us. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. So you're seeing this right here. What I was just quoting, and this almost quotes John 3:16. I can't wait to get into this. Now I'm getting excited. Now he's reminding me of things later on in John that are going to be just powerful. Okay, verse 15. John bare witness of him and cried, saying, this was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. John took so much attention to make sure that we knew Jesus was at creation. Jesus was before all of us. Even though supposedly he wasn't born before all of us. There were generations and generations before Jesus was in flesh on this earth. Man, there's several times John made a point to point that out. That is crazy. I've never paid attention to that before, even though I know John prophesied it. You know, John 1:1. But yeah, he does it over and over and over again. Verse 16. And of his fullness have all we received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. And we still respect and follow the law of God. That's why we see all over the New Testament, keep the commandments of God. Does it say here that Jesus did away with the law? Sure doesn't. Not my word, and this is the King James. This is saying grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. They had the law. They had it. They had it written in stone. They had it right there in their face. They had it through all these books. They had it through the Torah. But God wanted us to have something more. And so he sent his son. That grace and truth. Grace and truth. No man has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. Jesus did not do away or speak against anything that was of God. He hath declared him, and God declared him. Was his only begotten Son. And as you see here, the Word became flesh and tabernacled among us. This is why we do the Feast of Tabernacles. And it's also prophesied in Zechariah that in the new kingdom, when Jesus returns, we will be observing this feast in the new kingdom. So I think we should get ready. So this is the time where the exact word said the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us and tabernacled among us. And if you look at that word dwelt, you will see the word tabernacled. This is why we do tabernacles. This is a time we focus on Jesus being born. And this is also the time we look forward to Jesus returning. And he's going to dwell among us again. He is coming back, y'all. He is coming back. Man, may we get ready. I don't know about you, but I want to be sure there's a hand holding out for me. I want to see him with all my might. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional right now. We got to get ready to see him. We got to make sure we're ready to be sealed with God. Things are just so chaotic. And it's not just looking at the wars. It's just, look at how much hate is around. And that hate has just killed me. We're not supposed to spew hate to others. We're supposed to love like Jesus did. You think Jesus is going to be proud? We're telling other people to hate others? No. This is a time of refining, and it's also a time of a harvest. We need to get ready to see him. Thank you for joining me. I love doing these. They fill my heart, and they fill my soul, and it gets me revived before I get back to work after the Sabbath. But let's get ready. Let's tell people about the love of Jesus. Let's tell them not to hate. Warn them of what hate does. It will eat your soul. It will eat your mind, and it will eat your heart and crumble it to a million pieces. Let's love like Jesus did, in spirit and in truth. Blessings. We'll see you next Saturday night.